Hello, listener, and welcome to this preview of our latest Patreon-exclusive episode. To continue the conversation and listen to the full episode, head over to the Beyond the Screenplay Patreon. The link is in the show notes. Hello, patrons, and welcome to this Patreon-exclusive episode of Beyond the Screenplay, the podcast where each week we do a conversational deep dive analysis into a film. Today, we are talking about Labyrinth, the 1986 film, a screenplay by Terry Jones, directed by Jim Henson. I'm joined, of course, by the Beyond the Screenplay team, Trisha Rand.
Hello, everybody.
Brian Bittner.
No, I ain't. I'm Huggle, and don't say I didn't warn you.
It's just like there's nothing you can do. You see it coming, you can't.
You're just waiting.
And Alex Calleros.
Hi.
So we are in week 5 of our Fall Favorites season. This season, we are talking about some of the movies that we've put on our top 10 favorites list. Each of us has chosen 2, and over the next, 5 weeks remaining, we're past the midpoint. Good job, everybody. Last week, we talked about Bang John Malkovich. Next week, we're talking about American Beauty. But today, we're talking about Labyrinth, which was chosen by Brian. Brian, tell me about Labyrinth.
Mulholland Drive for kids. Let's do it. Yeah, I mean, it's so funny because I was thinking I don't actually remember my history of the. Trisha's already pouring a big drink. Like my history of this movie. I had the VHS. I don't remember if it was part of this like stack that my mom bought, or if I saw it and I had some vague idea of who David Bowie was and wanted it, or what it was. But at some point it came, and maybe it just showed up one day. Like maybe it was one of those, magical things that happens. But yeah, I probably had it when I was 11 or 12 or something, watched it a bunch, loved the music, the comedy, the moodiness, the weirdness, the fantasy element. I was also reading The Hobbit and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy around this time, right? So it's sort of like the fantasy thing and then the Python-esque kind of humor thing. And then over the years, I was showing it to friends. I actually started getting into David Bowie, which I actually wasn't yet at the time that I started falling in love with this movie. And then it just stuck. It wasn't one of those movies like, oh, I remember loving that movie as a kid, or I watched it a bunch as a kid and haven't seen it in 20 years. It just kept being my favorite movie forever, basically. And, it's hard for me to know why exactly it's had such a lasting effect. But I think in addition to it just being something I enjoy as a piece of content, I really love that it goes to some sad places, some adult places, while at other times just like really wearing its heart on its sleeve. And it's kind of, crystal ball juggling all those things at once. And I think there's a lot to talk about thematically. I think there's just really interesting things that I find fascinating with this. Really simple themes that are peppered throughout, and then a pretty straightforward theme that's kind of the main one, and then some more complicated ones that are a little more out of arm's reach. There's so many video essays and articles out there that are like an hour long, exploring like all this stuff, like sexuality and self-actualization and fantasy versus reality and family. And like I love that this goofy puppet musical can inspire all of that. And like it's just a movie that invites people, I think, to engage with it and think about it and talk about it. So that's me, but I don't know what it's like to watch this movie for the first time as an adult. Especially one who maybe doesn't, love 80s things. So I'm genuinely very excited, for better, for worse, to hear what it was like for you guys to watch it, but also what kinds of things you took away from it. Like, what are the things that people notice the first time they watch it versus things that I noticed the 20th time that I watched it?
So watching it, I realized that I've been in the room with it before.
You were playing a video game over here while your friends were watching it?
Yes, exactly that.
Wow.
Exactly that. It came on and I don't think I was able to do it. And so I played a lot of StarCraft in the corner, but was looking up occasionally. Is kind of my because so watching it, I was like, oh, it's that guy. Oh, right, this. Oh, right, that. For most of the movie. So that was kind of a weird thing to realize that I had seen a lot of this movie, but I'd blocked it from my brain. And honestly, I want to be more amusingly angry at this movie, but it's mostly just that this movie doesn't get through to me.
Sure.
Just every one of my barriers is up and it bounces completely off every single one of them, of just bad CGI owl to start. The puppets creep me out. It's so 80s in all the ways. Hoggle is the least likable thing I've ever seen until the rest of the movie happens. But I can definitely, it is a singular, unique movie, and I can see how if I were on the other side and all of this was something that like worked for me, what a cool, specific concoction of things that would be really fun to just like down and put into my veins. So it's a very interesting movie. I don't know that I have any intellectual thoughts about it. And so I'm kind of looking forward to this conversation too, to see if I can, to see what other people made of it. And maybe that could be my access point into like, dealing with this.
It's just going to be an hour-long monologue of me and then the three of you just looking at your watches.
Well, so I'm really curious to hear from, Trisha and Alex. I usually go Trisha next. I'm going to go Alex, actually. Alex, what did you make of this movie?
So I don't automatically repel like oil and water from 80s things like Michael does, but I'm in a similar ballpark. The aesthetics of this era are not my favorite. I have definitely seen the poster for this movie and the images from this movie a lot. I've never seen this movie before now. And I was always just like, what am I looking at? What is David Bowie doing in this weird Jim Henson thing with like, a crystal ball with Jennifer Connelly inside? I can't imagine what this movie could be. Like, what could this possibly be? And I watched it and it's like, wow, I couldn't have imagined what this movie would be. This movie's insane. But the thing that most surprised me about it was how much I did love the Jim Henson magic. And just I had forgotten, besides just Muppets, the kind of spectacular craft of Jim Henson and his creations. And I was really actually delighted with every kind of like behind every corner in this film is a little delightful Jim Henson creation and a little, the little worm on the side of the wall and Hoggle, I get how Michael's reaction is like, I don't want to look at this thing, but also I was like impressed with just like, the full bodysuit thing. I liked that, the movie had the sense of humor about it where, a fairy. And he's like, squirting them like mosquitoes. There was something that was pulling me in. And I was like finding myself delighted by a lot of these like little things around every corner. Then there was just kind of like the kind of, how do I describe it? Like in a movie like this, I don't know where I am or where it's going or like if it even has a real plot or if it's kind of just, we're just gonna like fall into different places and discover things. So I did drift while watching it. We're just like, I don't know where I am. And I assume she's going to get into different hijinks and fall into different places with different puppets for the next hour until like we get to the finale. And it's fun, but I wasn't like engaged the whole time. However, near the end, when she finally like puts together her crew, she has was it Ludo?
Ludo down.
What's the name of the little guy that rides the dog?
Sir Didymus.
Like, that's a charming group, and like the arc with Hoggle. And like, I was like, I like this group. I like these characters. They're very distinct. So the movie, while I was kind of zoning out half the time, the other half of the time, it was pulling me back in with these like Jim Henson delights. And ultimately this little cast of characters that I actually did really like. And then David Bowie is doing some musical numbers. In the middle of all that.
Oh boy, is he.
Yeah, I guess he's gotta. What's the song? It's like something about the babe.
You remind me of the babe. Magic
I think
Dance.
that song is called Magic Dance.
Yeah.
It's called Magic Dance? Okay. Anyway.
Actually, Dance Magic, but it's changed over there.
I apologize.
Yeah.
So that was, I don't know if that's very coherent, but that's my live experience of this movie. And then it kind of ends and you expect it to be like, oh, she's grown up and the things are in her past, or they helped her learn to love her family. And they're like, nah, Muppet Party, let's go. It's just like, great, why not?
Because every once in a while, she needs them for some reason.
Right. So yeah, I love how this movie at every turn was surprising me, both just in its delightful puppetry, but also like, movies normally do this thing, and this movie's like, we'll do the other thing. Let's just do it.
Yeah, I mean, your point about the skill and craft of the puppetry is 100% true. Like, it is a very impressive movie. The technical achievement, how you get inanimate things to be characters that convey emotion, like that is all really impressive. I saw the budget for this was $25 million in 1986, and I was like, whoa, wait, what? And then watching it, you see the number of everything that they had to create, and the sets are all like intense and expansive. On a technical level, it is really impressive, and like in some ways that's kind of almost what it felt like to me, is like a reason to make cool stuff.
Yes.
Like the movie. And it was successful in doing that. Trisha.
Yeah, just piggybacking off of that, I don't think anyone is going to say that this movie is not ambitious or bold or visually really striking. It is all of those things. However, I just want to say at the outset.
However, the movie.
I just want to say at the outset that I am a very big Muppets fan, like a very big one. I grew up with the Muppets. The Muppet movie is one of my favorites. I danced to Rainbow Connection with my father at my wedding. Like, I am a true blue big Muppets fan. The Muppets are not the problem for me. For me, there's a very big story issue here, which is just that, you know, this movie is Alice in Wonderland. It's The Wizard of Oz. It's a number of movie forms that we've seen before, right? Story forms that we've seen before. And yet, I think where the Muppets do their best work is when they are making light of serious material in a way that draws the themes to the foreground, with something like The Muppet Christmas Carol being a prime example, right? So this is very serious material. The playfulness of the Muppets actually adds a layer of poignancy in a way where it's adding levity into something that's otherwise very serious. Muppet Treasure Island is kind of the same way, which is one of my favorites. But they do this really well. And this story form is already kind of bizarre and playful and, episodic. It's already weird. And just sort of a vehicle for a young heroine to learn sort of a coming of age lesson and then come back and you were there and you were there and you were there. And I just don't know why we need the most 80s version of it of all time. I just there's nothing wrong with The Wizard of Oz. It's great. It's actually really great and fine. I don't know what the puppets get you here, other than, as you were pointing out, a stunning visual achievement. It is, I watch Jennifer Connelly's character falling down the shaft of hands, and I'm just like,
that was amazing.
I don't even know how you start to think of what this is.
Right.
And it does feel like somebody came up with 80 really cool ideas and just wanted to stick them in something. And they're like, where these would go? In The Wizard of Oz. Let's just make that. And yeah, maybe if you saw that when you were a kid and, I don't know how to I don't know how to talk about this movie without having the literary chorus behind me of all the other things that it's drawing on, and in many ways feels like is contributing not very much to the conversation in terms of actual narrative. On the other hand, again, there is real filmmaking going on here. And so I do think that that's worth celebrating. And I do love Muppets, and there are really funny moments in this movie, and there are really some moving moments in it as well. Also, a child in peril is always going to be compelling, especially one that looks exactly like my is this the season of children who look exactly like mine in peril? I don't know. This is wild. But yeah, I mean, there are things that do work here about it. I also I don't know. I find it really difficult. Sorry.
Are you satisfied, Brian?
Yep.
Someone here's going to complain if it's going to be me. I sat down to watch this movie 2 years ago in Halloween season because I'd never seen it and I love Muppets and I know a lot of people that really, really love it. And I was like, let's check this one off of my missing list. Like, let's do it. I think I'm going to like it. And I couldn't finish it. I got lost in the middle and was not compelled anymore. And I'm sorry, but I felt that way again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, somewhere around the kind of
Is it Chili Down with the Fire Gang? Because
the Fire Gang.
Is that the bird
it's
dance?
The Fire Gang.
Yeah, that's where I was like, I'm really zoning out now.
It's a tough one.
It really does eject me all the way out of the movie and doesn't make me want
The
to come back.
compositing.
Yeah.
It's everything.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Like that scene I will only love from a nostalgia point of view. And maybe just like it's kind of fun or whatever. But I think that watching this movie, I was really appreciating how much almost every scene was doing some little thematic something, even if it was like a little thing instead of something that was bigger, part of the bigger picture, except for that one. Other than like they're trying to corrupt her essentially, and then at the end, Hoggle comes back and he saves her. But it's just like that scene in and of itself is essentially meaningless, and like outside of the fact that it's just really goofy and certainly hasn't aged well. I'm always also just like, oh yeah, you don't actually need anything that's happening here for like the character arc or any of that kind of stuff. So the thing that I'm most curious about, because it took me a while to fully appreciate this, is, and this is a question with movies like Wizard of Oz too, like, did you guys read this as all being part of Sarah's imagination?
Hope you enjoyed this preview clip. To continue the conversation and listen to the entire episode, head over to the Beyond the Screenplay Patreon. The link is in the show notes.